We're now reconvening as Wycomico County Council for the legislative session 2026-10 for May 19th, 2026. Ms. Chattel, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. One of them, take it.
Good morning, Council President Cannon and Wycomico County Council. I'm the Internal Auditor, Anjali Chattel. I would like to present Resolution 76-2026, acknowledging the Roads Division audit, fuel, DEF, and other roads inventory.
Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 76, 2026.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Thank you.
The Office of the Internal Auditor performed an audit of fuel, DEF, and other inventory at the Wycomico County Roads Division. The objectives were to evaluate the controls designed to manage risks related to compliance with policies, safeguarding assets, reporting accurate and reliable information, and then, of course, to make recommendations if appropriate. I concluded that the program design was satisfactory, and I had 3 findings related to first, inventories and reconciliations, which was partly remediated, required elements on logs and at entry point of sale, tax and non-tax diesel fuel. In addition, there's a section on the status of prior findings. One of them was replaced regarding the logs, and to replace as one of the recommendations in this report. And then the 3 other recommendations from the last audit could be closed out. And management did provide a response.
Any questions from anyone? All those in favor of Resolution 76, 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution passes unanimously.
Okay, for the next one, Resolution 77-2026, acknowledging the report on gift cards. This was a review of the gift cards of Wycomico County. The focus of this exercise was to review support documents and summarize the processes and details for P-card transactions for gift card purchases and high-risk transactions.
Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 77, 2026. Second. Discussion. Thank you.
In the report, there's information, there's tables on gift card transactions. There's a section on promotional gift cards, high-risk transactions and donations. And then there's a section on periods for which support documentation was not provided. And then there's appendices with state policies related to LMB, as well as some rec and park policy and rec and park template.
Okay. We've had a lot of questions about this in the past few weeks, months, whatever. It is in the brief book, and I think people would be kind of surprised to look at it and see what's been handed out. I mean, we're not talking about a few $100s. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars in gift cards being passed out in the past couple of years, correct?
Yes.
Has the policies been followed as far as following up on the gift cards, as far as who they go to, paperwork filled out?
So there didn't seem to be a policy for gift cards at the county level. And then there are state policies, however. There could be some potential questions there because this wasn't an audit. I didn't really do like testing to see, to do fails and counts and so forth. And then to then ask management for follow-up. I have heard it several times throughout the review that there's state policies or state auditors review like LMB, if you're talking about the LMB gift cards.
Well, any gift cards that's, handed out to anybody, had they followed the procedures that need to, who's getting the gift cards, who's using them, and all that? Are they filling out all the paperwork properly that they need to?
I didn't see a policy specifically on gift cards in the purchasing manual.
Rec and Parks has got a policy.
They do.
Yeah.
They do, and that's in there. One thing with the rec and park policy, it is dated April 1st, 2025. My scope period was largely prior to that. So it's not something that I could have even if I was going to like look at for testing, it wasn't effective like during prior fiscal years, except for a small portion of.
So they set the policy during
25.
the time that you were doing the review.
That's the updated policies dated that. I think they sent me a document prior to that wasn't dated, so I wasn't quite sure what the effective period was for that.
So what is the protection to keep people that are getting these gift cards from using them for things they shouldn't be buying? I know that LMB said at our last meeting that, you know, they were buying it from one grocery store because they had the protection of not being able to buy alcohol or tobacco. And I've asked for that documentation, and we've not received it yet because the executive's office says a lot of it's just verbal. They can't provide the information, or they can't provide it readily. I should say that. To get past that, what is the protection to keep people from using these gift cards for tender to sell them to somebody else for lesser value? Is there any protection there? In other words, if somebody gives somebody a $20 gift card, what protects that person from selling that gift card to somebody for $10, say, to buy it?
I'm not aware of any control for that. So there could be one. I'm just not aware of one.
Okay.
I got a picture from of the Food Line gift cards, and on the Food Line gift card it says not to be used to purchase alcohol or tobacco.
I think Ms. Keene showed us at the last meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's on the gift card. for Food Line.
Can I see that picture?
Yeah, I'll show it to you. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It was supposed to be sent to me, but sorry for the holdup, Joe.
No, it's okay. It's right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Just to clarify, the receipts that I looked at didn't actually indicate that it was somehow a special gift card compared to any other gift card. So I don't know when a specific card was purchased in comparison to the receipts that I looked at, but the receipts don't indicate that they're somehow restrictive. And then one other comment, there were receipt transactions that were returns of gift cards, and that I did see, so.
So we had a letter from the county executive's office that stated these gift cards were supposed to only be used for food. Correct? And that was in the response letter. And I know what Southbound Alley is. Okay, that's a bowling alley, correct? Is Regal Cinemas, where they've been buying gift cards for Regal Cinemas?
There are some
that Regal?
transactions for Regal, for a cinema.
Okay,
I can find it on here if you'd like me to, but there was a cinema in here as well.
yeah, that's fine.
I have a question.
Yes.
L&B, Food Line. And I'm looking at 2 days where they spent $980 twice. Are these, my thinking is, I'm trying to be positive, is that when they get grants, so they say program supplies. So if they get grants and the people turn in the receipts, would that be part of Food Line?
No. The purchasing them in like $900 intervals. I believe it was so that they were purchasing them for different months, like that they didn't want to have. I think, like, you know, if they're going to be giving out gift cards in December, they maybe would buy them in January. If they're purchasing them in October, they would maybe buy them in September or something like that. Maybe at the beginning of the month or at the end of the prior month.
They did two in the same day.
Yeah.
They had two of, I'm just an example,
Yeah.
$980, and then the begin. So when they do this, where does the money go? Where does the gift cards go?
Yeah. So one other thing about the two purchases, sometimes I believe they said something about how the store wouldn't allow, and I could be misphrasing this and I apologize, but something about how they couldn't purchase all of the gift cards that they needed in one transaction, and it was a store's requirement that it be split into multiple transactions, something like that, to get all of the gift cards in one purchase.
What are they doing with these gift cards?
They were putting them in food boxes for distributions.
People that can't afford to eat.
So
There's a section on page 18 of the report that talks about how the forms were used to request food boxes, and so there's more in the box than just the gift card. And I don't know what else. I think the LMB's come to the table before and talked about the food boxes and everything else in it. And there's also in the back an exhibit from the LMB budget. I took a screenshot, I believe. It's a. I can get you the details of what all is in the gift boxes. I think it's in the report, but I can't find it readily. But it included other things in the budget for what was in the boxes. Did that clarify? Let me get an email to you.
Yeah, well,
about
see,
what's in the
I
boxes.
just have a problem. You know, we have pantries. Are they giving the food to pantries? What are they doing?
Yeah, so there were two different situations where the food boxes were being distributed. In one, they were being distributed to schools, specific schools. I reviewed a lot of binders for different schools, and not every school was getting a box in every single month, but different months had different schools, and there were certain people at each school that were getting a box. That was in one situation. The other situation was where the boxes were at LMB and then people could walk in and then obtain a box. And so they had different forms for the different situations usually. One version where the forms were being filled out when they were coming in.
Acting like a pantry.
I don't think that they use the phrase pantry, so
If they're giving away food, oh, I don't want to dwell on this, but if they're giving away food, that's to me is a pantry. If they're coming into the L&B office to pick up a box of food, my concern was, and things could change if you're purchasing food from a program that's being funded through L&B. I was thinking maybe that's the receipts they were getting for where they purchased food, and maybe Food Line would be the place that they would recommend to buy food for programs or whatever they're doing. But this keeps popping up $980. And you don't have no documentation in here, just the figure.
I did look at those receipts. So I looked at every. Maybe there could have been a receipt that I didn't see, but for the most part, I did look at a lot of 900 and I think it was 980 or 99, whatever that high amount.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
I saw that 900.
I looked at all of I believe I looked at almost all those receipts, and that my understanding was that if they tried to purchase $3,000 of gift cards, something about the way the system, because it's every single gift card, and just the system couldn't handle it, so that's why it had to be chunked up like that into splits, even though they were all in the same day. So I would look at multiple transactions in the same day for gift cards at the same store. And then going back to Councilmember Holloway's question, it was Regal. You were
Okay.
yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
those gift cards, for whatever reason, LMB requested from the county attorney, I guess that's Mr. Wilbur's office, that the names of the recipients of those gift cards be redacted so nobody would know who got them. Why would that be?
The redaction request didn't specifically say for me to if it's not in here,
It's on that list you put up there.
the exact legal reason, like if it was a specific PIA law, what the law reference was, if it's, I believe it wasn't actually listed as what the PIA law requirement was, but they did make their case, and the county attorney did agree to that redaction.
I understand that a lot of the gift cards that went, like, we've been using business names here, and I was kind of trying to get away from that to begin with, but I know we haven't used names of who's gotten these gift cards. I understand, and that's fine. But I really find it concerning when, and as an internal auditor, I think you should too, that when it comes to gift cards that aren't used, well, South Baton Alley has snack bar. I'm sure I know Wriggle Cinema does. So I guess they could say, well, they reused them there, but why redact those? I think that would have been a real good question for the internal auditor to get an answer from the attorneys.
There were reasons that I saw in those emails, but it wasn't said to say in here under 18 or food insecure. So I don't want to misphrase what the county attorney said for stating what to state as the redaction, that food insecure, underage, didn't give permission, something like that.
Okay, can you go to page 29?
Yes.
Your pages are numbered the same as what's on there.
They are. Yep.
Explain the two charts, one for 49,000 and then one for 1,265,000.
1,265,000 for
Is that total?
all transactions for the period, for the units that
You viewed?
that I reviewed
so
that
you're
had
talking-
gift cards.
You're talking about $1.2 million in gift cards.
No. That's just the net of all transactions for all of the periods in which I found gift cards. So the gift card total was 49,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It was just
No,
the
that-
gift cards was 49,000.
Not that that's any better, but anyway. So we've questioned this with LMB, and they defended it strongly in the past year, that they were doing things right. Well, when they came in the last meeting and we brought it up, they suddenly announced they were discontinuing using gift cards. Does that create any suspicion? Well, it does for me. It creates suspicion that maybe something wasn't right to begin with. I mean, if they said before, they said they were following all the protocols, everything was what they were supposed to be doing. And I find it real interesting that they only bought gift cards from one food line. They didn't, they had to special order those gift cards, but there's other grocery stores you don't have to special order gift cards from that you can get them that's restricted.
Yeah, and
Alcohol or tobacco.
we had this discussion as well about the purchasing manual. It wasn't something I was thinking about during the review because it was more of a report, find and report rather than a testing. But the purchasing manual does have a threshold at which there's supposed to be some written quotes, 3 written quotes, if the threshold is between $10,000 and $24,999. But it wasn't something that I tested as part of the review to get management response as to why the purchasing manual shouldn't apply.
So I'm sure people are wondering what, all the concerns about this. The state of Maryland basically outlawed giving away gift cards a few years ago, but they also gave LMB the leverage to use gift cards if they followed a strict policy. So did LMB follow that strict policy?
In my viewings, I saw some inconsistencies that I would have questioned, and if this had been an audit, I would have, had some questions that I would have been brought to management to then determine if my testing had indicated fails and findings. There would have been some lines that would have raised some concerns. Then the other point was that to truly know if this was not in compliance with state law, maybe a state auditor should be the one to make that decision, or a state investigator of some sort.
So would it be your recommendation that the council send your findings to the state auditor, Attorney General's office, or, now I know they won't do county items, but they will do what the state, like LMB. So would it be your recommendation that the council send your review to the state auditor to see if they would like to review the past practices of LMB? Well, they won't review what the county's doing, so.
It could provide some clarification to council. I think they're having concerns, and so and then we've heard responses from the other side. So having clarification from potentially a neutral and more authoritative source for their rules from the state could potentially help clarify if the county is doing things correctly or how to improve that going forward to be in compliance with state law.
Okay, so we've been talking mainly about LMB, but Rec and Parks, there were a number of items there, and of course we had the reasons why, but I find that the excuse was they had to feed the folks that they were under contract to. We understand that, okay. But there are restaurants open in the area that are open late, don't serve alcohol. And it kind of raises your suspicion or your, I don't know, what do you want to call it? When you see $225 in gift cards given to the Rock Creek Christian Academy to burnish beer. I mean, that does kind of make it look, and then you have other high schools getting to brew pubs, $100 to Crabs to Go. I seen Bobby just shook his head over there. But, those kind of things, you're talking about taxpayer dollars. Now, I know LMB works off grants, and the Rec and Parks, they get money for people entering the contest and whatsoever. But when all that comes into the county, it's taxpayers' dollars. So thank you for your review.
Just to clarify, did you want me to ask the Attorney General's office, and do we need to have a consensus on that?
I think that's something the council
Okay.
needs to discuss, right, John?
I mean, I don't think it's the council would have to approve that. If you think that would be necessary as part of your responsibility, that's fine. I mean, you're not filing a formal inquiry. You're just asking for more information. Am I correct?
If they, I guess, asking if they want more information, if they think that it's okay as is, if we need guidance from them, yeah.
For clarity, that's with regard to the LMB and the grant, the state grant that was
Correct, just for LMB.
county
They
tax.
would
Yeah,
deal
yeah.
with the county, the Rec and Parks. Yeah.
I just see something here. It tickles me. If I went to Classic Cakes, I don't think I'd be purchasing cake or cupcakes or something. And they got it. The account name is Office Supplies. To me, I mean, it should be better characterized to me, Classic Cakes is not office supplies. $500 to another restaurant. It didn't show what was purchased, so how do you know they didn't buy alcohol? See, those kind of things, you should have an itemized receipt. And here's another one, another Classic Cakes. Here's Brew River. Oh, Lord, forgive me for calling the name, but $500. A receipt was provided, but did not show what was purchased. So you're talking about alcohol. How do we know alcohol wasn't served? If they don't have it listed, what they purchased.
Yes, and
That bothers me, because detailed information, like Joe said, is taxpayers' money. And when you see these kind of purchases and LMB, and I was one of the first board members of LMB years ago. If it was, say, we're providing food for one of the outreach ministries or something, and we gave them $980 gift card to buy boxes of food, just showing 980. That makes me suspicious. I hate to say it, but that's what it does for me.
Yeah, and just to clarify on these high risk items, the Brew River and Mad Hatter, there were gift cards in here as well already for those vendors. For Sam's, it was a slightly different vendor name, but it was still Sam's. And I reached out to Sam's to get clarification on if that somehow meant that it was not a gift card. And they said that you couldn't actually tell by the vendor name and you really needed to see the receipt. And then for Classic Cakes, I did actually call the vendor and I did speak to them, and they do actually give gift cards. They couldn't clarify or confirm that any of these were or not gift cards or anything like that, but that vendor does actually sell gift cards too.
So, thank you for your report. Just to give a little more oversight, $250 in gift cards to Bergen Catholic, $250 gift cards to DeMouthus Catholic High School, $200 in gift cards to Dream City Christian, $250 in gift cards to Martin County High School from the Green Turtle. So the kids are having a ball. Thank you.
Councilmember Merritt, I think you were going to say something earlier.
Yeah, I think my question got answered
Okay.
through the discussion. I just multiple transactions on the same day. I'll use April 4th, 2020 on page 13, $980 3 times in the same day. Just wondering if each transaction was one gift card or was it multiple gift cards in that 980? Was there a breakdown? Or?
Yeah, it was multiple gift cards for 980. So in
That's $3,000 in one day.
Call that invoice splitting, John. Dave.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
I didn't actually use the word splitting during the review because I wasn't in that audit mindset. But on page 17 and 18 of the report, where I talk about to whom gift cards were given, I note for fiscal year 2024, the gift card amounts were $10 each that were to Food Line. So even if the report said 980 or the receipt said 980 or 990, those were all $10 gift cards on that receipt. And so if there were 3 transactions for that amount, it was 3 receipts for 98 or 99 gift cards on each receipt for $10.
So on that particular day, they spent $3,000. That's $310 gift cards, right?
Yeah, if they spent $3,000, it would have been 300 gift cards that day in fiscal year 24. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I was a bit confused also on some of the high-risk transactions you referenced, but you really don't draw a conclusion as to what management said was the problem or what they might have said was a resolution. And I understand that receipts were provided, which is, I think, a good demonstration of good faith, but there was not any description of what was purchased. What I found very unusual was the fact that the amounts, such as Brew River or Mad Hatter, were exactly 500. So it's not as if that could have possibly been, a meal or, a meeting at either one of those places. But you don't say in the follow-up what the determination might have been as to what that specifically was. Is that purchasing a gift card, you think, or purchasing a gift certificate?
Yeah, so I never got a definitive answer for those. And just to clarify, there were other transactions where the detail maybe wasn't on a printed receipt, but management provided an assertion that it was for food. So there could have been another, whatever restaurant for $500, and then they said that it was for a banquet. There are some departments or units that do make large flat transaction amounts at restaurants to cater an event. So it is possible that it could have been for a catering event or something like food plus tip plus delivery or something
Which
else.
makes sense, but
Yeah.
what's really complicated here is that there are a lot of determinations on what occurred, but, we're approving this resolution as in, to, I guess, codify the work done. But I don't see where there's any resolution to how we're resolving the problem. I know with local management board, they've stated they're no longer going to be using gift cards. But there's nothing in here that really gives us finite determination that there will no longer be, these practices will not continue. So where does that leave us?
So the council could potentially, with county or council attorney assistance, draft legislation in some sort of way that regulates gift cards. There are other jurisdictions that have rules or banning of gift cards. I did put in the report situations where the county was receiving gift cards, even though they weren't explicitly purchasing it, partly so that you are aware that that occurs. So if you do create legislation on gift cards, that you consider that sometimes a gift card may be a free option as part of purchase, or even situations where it's not even an option, it's just basically given to the county regardless. So that's why I also did put some of those in there. So you're aware of the full impact of where I saw gift cards.
I don't even know if giving donations is always appropriate. I don't even know if that's appropriate at all to give donations.
It's the decision, that's a good question, John. You're taking taxpayer dollars, but one person in the county is making a decision to make a donation to an organization when the other 100,000 people in the county might want to make a donation out of their taxpayer dollars.
At this table might want to make
Yeah,
a donation
right,
to somebody.
so-
I go to the events all the time.
Yeah. So,
Any further questions on this?
Back to what Joe said, with the Attorney General's office. What exactly
Yeah.
were you suggesting?
I would suggest if she would possibly, what are you going to do? Just send a letter asking them to review your review, review your findings, or?
I guess I could ask if they want to review the findings, or they're not findings, but if they would like to. Okay,
Requesting
okay.
do it, not asking them.
Okay.
Yeah. Just tell them we think we have a problem.
Does that rise to the level of a formal complaint, Mr. Benson? When you inquire with the Attorney General, does that rise to the level of a formal complaint?
I mean, I assume it would be interpreted that way because I don't think they're going to do an investigation if you're not making a complaint.
I didn't know. At first, I thought you were suggesting just for clarification on some issues.
Right. So either we could request clarification or submit a complaint, which
Say if you did a review and you have there's serious questions about how the operation was running and if they would audit it.
I think before we could make that decision and the council could make that decision, I think it would have to be a little more clarity as far as which specific violations or however you might choose are what you may decide need further review.
Well, they won't
I
do
don't want to
anything
send it
with
across
state
the board.
grants. They won't do anything but the state grants. They won't do anything they won't do rec and parks. They'll only do LNB. Correct?
I believe so. I could draft something up for a work session.
That'd be great.
Okay. Yep.
I just say going forward, I first of all, I want to acknowledge that your position as it exists for internal auditor obviously came about after that debacle of the fuel system. And so having the previous report, I think, is helpful. And also, gift cards are, as we are all acknowledging, one of these areas that need a lot of sunlight to make sure that it's that things are going right and going well. So I don't know if that's something maybe more in the future that the council could look at for legislation. We'd have to be very targeted for that. But overall, I think what hopefully that's the bigger issue. You just providing more attention and on this it shows how much that this is an issue that clearly needs that could be ripe with problems. So I don't know if there's a way that we can help the county and work with the departments to still do what they want to do in a way that makes sense, but also to then further mitigate that risk. But just the fact that you're looking over it is really a positive thing in general. So I just thank you for that.
Thank you.
Aren't they calling that waste, fraud, and abuse national.
Yeah, we got to, and I think that's a positive. The more the folks that are in their position like yours, the more that we root out waste, fraud, and abuse, the more that people can believe in democracy, believe in government, and that's ultimately what we want. We want things to be done right and well. So I appreciate you taking the time to look at it.
Questions, comments?
I would just support looking at legislation or other jurisdictions and perhaps a work session later on to encompass this whole issue so that we're not piecemealing and asking all these questions and put something in place that's going to work for us, down the road. I think it's worthwhile to pursue that.
I did find other jurisdictions that did have legislation. As part of the work session, do you want me to include some copies from those other jurisdictions?
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor of Resolution 77, 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chappelle.
Thank you.
This time we open the floor for public comments. If you have any comments